This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
Hey, welcome back to Midweek Politics. I'm David Pakman with you for the rest of the hour. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/midweekpolitics. You can also find there my interview on the Thom Hartmann program. Thom Hartmann was actually in town over the weekend, and if you're not familiar with Thom, if you look at the biggest talk radio audiences in the country, if you skip over the ones that are conservative and the ones that are non-political, Thom's number one. So essentially, he's got the biggest progressive audience. And we actually, during my interview, we took some phone calls. Pretty smart audience that he has, I have to say. People calling in about a bunch of different stuff. It's up on our website, midweekpolitics.com, and also pictures from the event, the book event he did where I introduced him. A lot of good stuff. Check it out, midweekpolitics.com. Also, next week, this is the first time we're doing this. I'm actually kind of nervous. I don't know if we can pull it off. We'll be broadcasting from a conference in Washington, D.C. called America's Future Now, put on by the Campaign for America's Future. We'll be on Radio Row. We're like one of 15 or so shows that will be there. And we've got the audio part all figured out, but what we don't have is the video part figured out. So I don't know. I don't really know what's going to happen. And I think Lewis is mentioning that the camera over here isn't right. Lewis, you go ahead and fix it. Our audience won't mind. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of great people to interview. I'm hoping that it'll turn out to be a good show. We'll be talking, hopefully, with Jim Dean, Howard Dean's brother. We'll also be talking to Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, and really just a whole bunch of people. Roger Hickey and John Bonifaz. I'm hoping Ariana Huffington will be there. Nancy Pelosi will be there. They're not committing to any interviews ahead of time. So I can't promise, Lewis, but I'm hoping we'll be able to talk to some of them. I guess we'll see. And hopefully on the technical end, it all works out.
Hopefully we can record there in the first place.
I'm sure that will happen. That I'm confident in. Okay, what's going on with Barack Obama and the Democrats in 2010? We talked about what's been going on with BP. We talked with Marcy Winograd, who is one of many 2010 candidates. We don't know how Democrats will do. I've already said a bunch of times Barack Obama is in trouble and that he's sinking fast. But I was thinking, why is it that Barack Obama can't seem to get traction? It's just kind of this slow decline in the polls down to low 40s the last I looked. And I started thinking, remember our old friend George W. Bush? I know you remember him, Lewis.
I do. I think he was president for a little while.
He was. And there's something about him. I think our audience will remember when he said this line.
But I'm the decider, and I decide what is best.
Okay. I don't get the feeling that Barack Obama is the decider all the time. Now, I know George W. Bush, yes, he made bad decisions. Yes, he made stupid decisions on just about every issue. But he did make decisions. And sometimes it feels like Barack Obama is just not making decisions. And here, a perfect example is BP Knows Best. That doesn't strike me as him being the decider. He's kind of saying, well, I don't really know about this, so I'm going to let BP handle it. And I know we will get emails saying, hey, he's smart enough to admit when he doesn't know everything, and he'll defer to someone else, something George W. Bush maybe didn't always do. And I would agree with that. But something about the way he has made or not made some of these decisions has not come off in the same way that he did during the campaign. He was connecting with people. He was making it very clear that he doesn't know everything. He's not making the case for letting others take the lead as well as he did during the campaign.
So I think what you're saying is people would look more favorably upon him if he, let's say, had more conviction or was, more firm or...
I almost hate to say it because we saw so much of this. Are you saying he's too
soft?
I'm not saying he's soft. What I'm saying is something about the way that he has been presented has been a lot of talking, right? He's talking and doing press conferences and addresses and speeches very, very regularly to the point where some are saying he's overexposed. But the demeanor of some of those has not been one where he is giving everybody the overwhelming impression that he is in control. He is giving people the impression that he's smart. He's giving people the impression that he's caring about the issues and understanding. But he is not giving the impression that he is wholeheartedly making tough decisions all the time. And again, George W. Bush was making the wrong decisions in many cases, but you knew the buck stopped with him. I don't think everybody's having that impression with Barack Obama right now.
Right, I agree. I think, we saw what happened with Bush after 9/11.
We did.
The speeches,
he did well, 80+% approval.
Shot up. He was very firm. He was bold. He made a point. He
And
said,
again,
this is what
I
we're gonna
know
do.
we're going to get emails saying, hey, if we only cared about being firm and bold, we would have elected McCain maybe or whatever. That is not the angle that I'm going towards.
Right. I think if President Bush stood up there and said, well, I'm going to talk to some private defense contractors. I'm going to talk to some specialists.
Right.
And we're going to try and figure out the best thing to do. I don't think that would have gone over too well.
I think you're right. And Liz Cheney is saying, you know what? We've got a president now who thinks saying something makes it so. I just don't think she's right. Take a listen to what she had to say. I think we have it.
Liz, I think it's fair to say that Katrina marked a turning point in the public's view of George W. Bush. Does this have the same potential downside for President Obama?
I think it does, because I think you begin to get into issues here of credibility and leadership, where it's bigger than just this particular crisis and catastrophe. You've got a president now who thinks that saying something makes it so.
You know what's incredibly funny about that? We're hearing that from the daughter of the man who said this.
I think they're in the last throes, if you will, of the insurgency.
Remember that at the very, very, very beginning of the war. What, 8 years ago now? It's 7 years ago at this point. I think they're in the last throes of the insurgency. That was 2005. He also said, my belief is we will, in fact, be greeted as liberators. If anybody thought that saying something made it so, it would be Dick Cheney, would it not?
I suppose.
Who else? Who else could fall? It seems Liz Cheney seems to be mixing up. I know it's hard to imagine. President Barack Obama and former Vice President Daddy, as known to her, Dick Cheney. That's the only explanation I can see for that. Midweek Politics is brought to you in part by Jackson & Connor, classically modern men's apparel in Northampton, Massachusetts on the second floor of Thorne's Marketplace. By DIF Design, specializing in custom business websites at difdesign.com. And by shentrition.com, provider of all-natural superfood and adaptogenic herbal blend at shentrition.com. To find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics, visit midweekpolitics.com.